This live stream is presented to you by MaxSpeed TV. All live streaming content that is presented in this telecast is owned by MaxSpeed TV, Rudy Cummings, and the entire crew of MSTV. This may not be rebroadcasted, retransmitted, and retelevised without written consent. Please enjoy today's broadcast.
And we welcome everybody back here live for the iSCAR DeNise Design Series here live at Auto Club Speedway as we get set to go green for 85 laps at this 2-mile oval, which is unfortunately going to get revamped in the later future, but we'll try to celebrate this wide 2-mile oval as much as we can. In the meantime of that, we'll go ahead and just drive ourselves deep into this broadcast. My name is Ezeckiel Reyes.
And I'm Dewey Schramm. Thank you all for tuning in here for tonight, the final race of the short month of February and the final race of the round of 10 across the entire iSCAR platform. So it is crunch time now for these guys that want to really compete for a championship. It comes down to these next 150 miles tonight here in Fontana, California. So we'll see where everybody stands right now in practice and in points. And right now, the 41 of Christopher Wild currently 6 points up on everybody else. And you see down to Carson Poindexter, currently the 10th and final chaser there. Only 18 points behind that 41. So anybody can still be eliminated tonight. Anybody can make it in. And you see that 79 to William Schmidt, currently the last car in, but by a single point over Malachi Drake.
Yeah, that's right. So, I think the only person who's really secure on into the next round, the round of 7, seems as though the 41, Christopher Weil, is set to pull himself a nice finish, unless he DNFs off of the night. But, man, it is close from 10th all the way to, I'd say, 5th. There's about 4 or 5 points separating all those drivers. Liam Sheen only in by, I'd say, 3, and Joe a point back, and Schmidt a point back from that. And after that, you have the cutoff, and it's 1 point back to the man who got eliminated from 2 positions last night. Malachi Drake was on edge to work himself into the round of 7 just yesterday, and unfortunately, he got robbed of it as he wrecked across the start-finish line. And Malachi, man, he'll have a shot to work himself to the round of 7 here for tonight. But we'll just have to see on how it'll all go for the end of it, and see Harry Greenwell, Carson Poindexter still not out of it, but they're a few points back of where the cutoff is.
Yeah, unfortunately for Malachi, that big wreck coming to the line last night ended up taking him out of the contention for the cup chase. But yeah, Malachi, Harry, and Carson currently the 3 out, but again, even Carson only 4 points behind Schmidt, so this is still anybody's chase still. And I guess only fitting that the 41 of Chris currently paces practice here by about almost a full 10th on Cole Williams. And Cole led this series chase for most of the season along with Josh Patterson, who was eliminated in the round of 13. So just because you're up there all season doesn't mean you're going to stay there come chase time. So again, even though the 41, I think, has 14 points over 7th place, I mean, he's not safe either. He needs to be on his A game tonight, and for right now, already showing that he's definitely going to make sure that he is.
All right, we'll scoot ourselves into the qualifying session. We'll be right back right after this for the iSCAR DeNise Design Series Auto Club 150. Be right back right after this messages, as well as the national anthem. And we welcome everybody back here live for the iSCAR DeNise Design Series. Getting set to go green here just momentarily. Currently qualifying underway. Only a couple drivers have at least logged in one lap. Liam Sheen and not Poindexter, but Christopher Weil in the 41 working themselves around the racetrack. But oh boy, it's another elimination here for tonight. And oh man, 3 drivers are gonna turn their heads off away from a potential championship.
Yeah, 3 drivers will meet the end of the road tonight in terms of their chase hopes. And you'll notice on the board compared to practice, these lap times are going to be a bit slower, of course. Some of those practice laps are going to be from the draft. So you will not see the speeds here in qualifying that we just did in our practice session that we'll probably see during the race. Liam Sheen currently ahead, still on the top of the board. Glenn Bundren in the 37, a good lap for him, puts into second. And just as he does that, Harry Grindle jumps him only 7/1000ths of a second slower than Liam Sheen, as Hunter Johnson in the 12 now gets to third, and now Miller to the top of the board. So this is probably going to continue to change here as more and more guys put these laps down.
Yeah, still yet to see Joe Berge and Dominic Howell log in a couple of laps as well. Cole Williams working himself down the back straight away. I think he's on his second lap now. Kevin White seems as though he's called it a qualifying run. So a lot of laps here for tonight, and Kendrick works himself into 5th. And Rosero to the top spot. How about that for the 23 who came off a victory, his first ever just yesterday at Martinsville. Seems as though he could pull his potential here into tonight. So that number 23 looking pretty up front now.
I mean, look at that. The top 3 are separated by 2/1000ths of a second. Rosero up by 2/1000ths on Miller, and him and Cole put identical lap times down on the board. So those are some really, really good laps that those 3 just put down. And yeah, you just mentioned Michael Rosero won his first ever iSCAR race last night at Martinsville. I mean, could he potentially go back-to-back here this weekend? Because he's definitely got the speed to so far tonight.
Yep, that is right. Berge's still working himself around into 3. So 43 seconds left in this one. Corey Long and everybody from 15th on down. Oh, Berge loses it off the corner. And that will be slurpity-derp from him into the outside while he goes.
And 9th isn't too bad of a run. At least he got 1 clean lap in there. Looks like I'll put him in 9th because, you know, anyone that hasn't, of course, gotten across the line now is not going to complete a lap. So it looks like Rosero is going to be the pole sitter here for tonight after winning last night. So a great stretch here for the 23. Race analysis on the bottom left of your screen. 2-mile D-shaped oval here is Auto Club Speedway, but of course, as mentioned earlier, it is going to be reconfigured, but it will live on here in the iRacing Sim. Noon time of day setting, so the track tempo should be hot, and it will stay that way for the majority of the race. Pit road speed 55 miles per hour. We'll see if anybody ends up having some trouble there. 4 tire sets for these drivers to manage over these 85 laps, and 35 to 40 laps is the fuel window, so should be a 2-stop race, but maybe 1 if people can save enough to make it to the end.
Yeah, I think for this race, it's still going to be around a 2-stop strategy, but potential 1-stop strategy can be played out depending on if you could save the fuel and or the cautions as well. So I'm curious to see if how the cautions are going to play out on how it'll all go by the end of this one. So we'll just have to all see on how it'll all turn out. But in the meantime with that, again, noon setting here for tonight, so it's a very, very slick racetrack, and you'll see it here in the weather panel.
Yeah, track temp of 113. It's going to be a scorcher here tonight, so they should be slipping and sliding for pretty much the duration of the race here today. It'll definitely be an interesting one here. And of course, this is completely different than the last time that iSCAR ran at Auto Club. The last time we were here was with the trucks, and that was a nighttime race, so a completely different time of day now. So for guys trying to maybe take what they learned perhaps in the truck race and apply it here, I don't know if you can really do that, since the track is going to behave a lot differently now that we're in the middle of the day versus at night.
Oh, not only that, we're in the Xfinity car as well, so it's for all those drivers who want to get themselves some draft and such like that. I mean, it'll still play an effect, but not as much as what the truck provided through, especially in nighttime conditions as well. So still should fare for an interesting race, but having grip around the racetrack is definitely going to be key.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, the draft, I'm sure, will definitely play a role here tonight. It's just a matter of how much of a role that it ends up being, as we have just about 2.5 minutes left here in the warm-up before we get ourselves situated here for the main event. Another quick look at the points before we get ourselves rolling and in gear here for tonight's race. Again, while up by 6 on Hunter Johnson and Cole Williams, and Poindexter sitting there down in 10th, only 3 points or 4 points behind the 79 of Schmidt. So again, even with about 21 cars, Weil is technically not safe at all. So this could really go in any direction possible, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see some surprising names and potentially get eliminated tonight.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we saw some last-second eliminations off of the Martinsville race, as there was a wreck off of 4 and position scrambled, and that booted Malachi Drake out of the cut. So we're just going to have to rely off of this race as well, the truck championship, to see on how it'll all play out for him. And hopefully that kind of chaos doesn't ensue here for tonight. I mean, you, as a spectator, you love to see all sorts of shenanigans play out on the racetrack. But as a driver, it's just so frustrating having a race like that just blown out of proportion and going all to waste.
Yeah, Carson on Friday night and the truck race at Charlotte, he was behind the 8 ball for the entirety of the race. That lap 1 wreck ended up putting him up 54 laps on pit road and had no shot of really gaining any positions, and unfortunately ended up eliminated as a result. So hopefully nobody has that same fate here tonight, and we can have all 10 of these drivers battle for the entirety of the race to see who ends up getting in. Because when you have a lap 1 wreck like that takes out some contenders, it kind of dims the mood a little bit, you know, because he really didn't have a chance at all. His night was over before it really even got started, and you never want to see that happen.
Yeah, that's right. So we're just gonna have to see on how it'll all play out. But in the meantime, of that looks like better get set to go green flag racing here just momentarily. If you're not just joining us here for tonight, iSCAR DeNise Designs here is Auto Club 150. Here live at the Auto Club Speedway. It's actually 170 miles, so let's go ahead and just whip it. 170. And we'll show you a race analysis to see on how this race will fare out to be. A 2-mile racetrack, turns 4, 1 in each corner, banking 14 degrees, but it is variable. Unfortunately, with the current tire model, that doesn't really allow it to really get put into use. Straightaways, 2,500 to 3,100 feet, 2,500 on the front. On the back straightaway, 3,100 on the front. 85 laps, 170 miles. The points leader is your last winner. Christopher Weil, he picked up not only the win, but he also picked up the pole last race. So he's gonna have 4 extra bonus points, at a minimum.
Yeah. Assuming he can make it into the round of 7, that is definitely an advantage the 41 will have. And as you roll through the starting order here, Micah Rosero spoils the chase party. A non-chaser wins the pole here for tonight after doing so in the Cup race last night by winning it. And Nick Miller will start beside him in second, highest starting chaser.
It's going to be Cole Williams in 3rd spot, and Liam Sheen in the I think number 1 is going to be starting in 4th.
Cole, the runner-up last week to Weil at Watkins Glen after winning in the truck race. Harry Grindle will roll off 5th here in tonight's race, and he'll be joined by Ryan Kendrick in the 00.
Car number 4 going to be Hunter Johnson, and the number 12. He's been fast all week. Has yet to pick up a win, though, this week. We'll see if he can do it here tonight at Auto Club. Glenn Bundren Jr., the Truck Series winner last season, will start himself here in 8th place.
And rounding out your top 10 are a pair of chasers, Joe Bergie in the 83 and Christopher Weil, who we just mentioned won the pole and the race last week at the Glen. We'll see if he can repeat there. Rest of the order will be shown on the bottom of your screen. Pick your favorite driver and hope they do pretty good, or maybe even advance on to the round of 7. As the field scrolls through, we'll see where all the chasers start. And I think Samson is it. Yep, so 22 cars here for tonight's race. So a pretty small field, especially compared to what we were getting earlier in the season. So we'll get ourselves graded up here for tonight. And it is worth mentioning that with only 22 cars here for tonight, that means there are a lot less points on the line that are available, just like last week at Watkins Glen. So for Christopher Weil, he's like 14 points above the cut line, so it's still possible for him to be eliminated, but with such a small field size, he's got a much bigger buffer than if he would have if this was like a 40-car field.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how it'll all turn out, but the field starts to roll itself off. We'll scroll through the rest of the grid as drivers get themselves set in for this 85 lap event. We'll go after the playoff drivers as well, and you see the number 95 sporting those blue banners. That number 95, Nick Miller, he's going to be the highest chaser. And that number 95 going to be starting in 2nd spot.
Yeah, good qualifying run. Just missed out on the bonus point for the pole. There's Cole Williams, won his first ever iSCAR race last week in the Truck Series at the Glen, and followed that up with a 2nd place finish here in this series, trying to win again perhaps here tonight. There's Liam Sheen in the 1, won his first Cup race around a month ago. I believe it was Chicagoland, or it was one of the mile and a halves. See how he does tonight. There's Harry Grindle, the Brit. He'll roll off 5th here for tonight. Currently one of those outside the top 7, but in a good position right now to get his way in. And a reminder of the bonus points available for tonight, because it's entirely possible that those could be the difference. A point for winning the pole, which no one got because Michael Rosero got it. 3 points for winning, 1 for leading a lap in the most laps, and 1 for finishing with a 0x. So we'll see if anyone takes advantage of that. And Michael Rosero and Nick Miller will lead us to the green. And we are off and rolling here for 85 laps of Auto Club to see who will advance on to the next round of the chase.
Work themselves into 1. They're all trying to scramble in, trying to get themselves situated on the low side. All for that number 23, Rosero, as Miller washes up way high up off the racetrack. We'll see if he can get some bite off the corner, but it seemed as though he just opened up the door for the 1 and the 42. Never minded that. Oh, good wreck in the back.
Contact. Trouble in the back. Kevin White Jr., Dominic Howell around. The 095 of Parker White goes for a spin, and one other car also in some trouble. So, and William Schmidt involved in the 79, one of our 10 chasers. So that's the 2nd time this weekend that a chaser's been involved in an incident on lap number 1. And Schmidt came into tonight the 7th driver in the chase, only 1 point clear of Malachi Drake. So this is absolutely not the way he wanted to start his night off.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm not really sure who got loose or something broke out of turn number, that 2nd turn. And around went, I'm not sure who it was. I mean, there was just a lot of people spinning in that mess, but we're going to see what happened. And it seems as though, oh, Dominic Howell just got loose.
Oh, and just clipped the 13. Schmidt tried to get it slowed down, but couldn't quite get it slowed down fast enough. I think the 86 might have just lost it there off the corner. And a tough break for those guys, as I think Kevin may have ended up in the inside wall. And the 86 right there with the 21 just goes right around out of 2. Kevin White gets clipped, and that's where Parker White ended up getting spun. 13 spun across his nose there. And the 13 does a good job of locking it down and just kissing the inside wall there. But he does have a bit of left rear damage from the contact with the 86. So we'll see. Get on board here with Parker, and there's the 13 right across his nose. Pretty much nothing he could have done differently. And it looks like he also kept it out of the wall. But the real concern here is the 79 of Schmidt. And you see how bent in that nose is. from the contact of, I believe, Dominic. So just like how Carson was behind the 8 ball to start the truck race, 79 looks like he's going to be in the same boat here in tonight's race.
Yeah, the man who rolled himself off of the man who finished second in the Cup race at Martinsville is going to be in some deep trouble. So we'll see if the number 79 can rebound and make something happen off of this damage. But man, still a lot of laps to go. It's an 85 lap race, and for him to be, as you said, behind the 8 ball this early, similar like Carson Poindexter, it's going to be unfortunate for him. But seems as though I don't think he elected tires, so this time is just purely based off of optional damage, and we'll see on where he's going to come out of pit road. So seems as though that nose is, I mean, it's getting bent back into shape, but 43, now 44 seconds. If it goes over a minute, I'd say Schmidt is probably down on RPM, because anything over a minute of damage is probably going to kill, and seems as though it is, so...
Yikes. Yeah, and it makes sense for him not to take tires. I mean, he didn't actually spin out. All he did was just get into Dominic. With just over a minute there of damage repair. Dominic Howe, same boat. Around 53 seconds spent in the box. But thankfully for the 79, I believe by getting off pit road, he'll be able to stay on the lead lap. But it is worth seeing if he does end up down or does end up losing RPM. Looks like Tyler Connor's in the 44. He may have been involved in that wreck and we didn't see him because he's already down 2 laps. I think Corey Long and David Bachman may not have taken the green. So I think we're down to 19 now out on the track. But if William is down on RPM, it's going to be a struggle for him all night. And Malachi's on pit road, as well as Kevin White and a couple of others.
Yeah, one of our chasers down on the pit road, probably topping off on fuel. Never mind that. He actually took tires. Very surprised by that.
Huh. 4 tire sets these guys have tonight. So he's already taken one of them here on just lap number 3. Or lap 4, rather. So fairly early. See people elect with tires. Looks like Henry Tabor down there. And Schmidt, I think, is either topping off or getting a couple more seconds of optional.
Feels all the way down in 3.
Here. Yeah, Rosero and Sheen will lead us back to the green. And we'll see if the 1 can try to get a bite off the high side here and maybe lead a lap. Again, bonus point for leading a lap in the most, so see if that makes a difference, because it's shown already that those bonus points can be the difference to you making it in and being just short.
Pace car scoots itself left on the pit road. Rosero hits the throttle and looks like he caught Sheen off guard. They're going to be side by side for a second, as Rosero is going to clear, I'd say, by 2.5 car lengths over that second position. And they're still just about 2 by 2 heading themselves into 1. It looks like Miller is going to take the spot over that number 1 of Sheen.
Paddling further back, while in the mix, I think, with whoever that green car is. That might be Bundren out of turn 2. They're mainly side by side, a little bit of 3 wide, I think, a bit further back, as Miller and Sheen still duke it out here for second, as Rosero continues to pace the field. There's Hunter Johnson in the 12. He's up now to the top 5. It's a 3 wide with Wild, Bergie, and I'm not sure who that top car is. I think that's Kendrick. And Wild gets loose on the bottom. He'll hold on to it, but that's going to cost him a couple spots.
Go side by side for a second again. Sheen knows himself all the way down to the apron. He seems as though he'll have the track position into the corner, but that number 12, Hunter Johnson, is also in this mix as well. So 3 chasers, second, third, fourth, all in the midst of trying to get themselves a nice track position. Miller just about tags the outside wall, getting tied off the corner. This will open up the door for Hunter Johnson to take charge in for that position. And Harry Grindle works himself down low, as well as a slew of chasers working down to the bottom, right past Miller. And Miller now under fire from Joe Berge in the 83, and a bit of contact there with the 42, as Cole, I think, just about doored the 95 up the racetrack, and Joe now picking 3.
And Cole Williams was the runner-up here at Auto Club in the truck race last time we were here, to the man that's only a couple spots behind him, and Christopher Wiles. So we know that 42 is good here. already up into the top 5 here early on in tonight's race. So these are all chasers here from about 2nd down to 7th. So these are valuable points on the line as these guys continue to battle here. As you go on board with 00 of Ryan Kendrick into 3, as the 2 SPM cars of Weil and Miller will duke it out here for 7 as they make their way out of 4.
Side by side for 3rd, it's Harry gonna work himself under for that 12, and he'll move himself into the podium spot. So Harry, similar to what we saw at Charlotte, he'll push the issue early, and it seems as though he's called himself a podium spot for right now, but Hunter might have the bite into turn number 1, but we'll see as Harry's gonna send it into the corner, clear the number 12, and maybe a crossover move by the 12 off of 2. Looks like now he gets the bite off the corner, and Harry, he too is sideways. He'll whip it straight and keep himself ahead of the 12 for right now, but retain that 3rd spot. And you also see the battling right behind is Kendrick working himself under for Miller.
Yeah, that is for 8th place, so good job there for Kendrick to make that pass. And yeah, Miller's been going in the wrong direction since the restart. Rolled off, I believe, and it was 3rd at the restart, now down to 9th. So not the start to the race that the 95 was looking for, but still a lot of time left to try to gain that all back. And as you look at the ticker, it looks like Schmidt is down by about 12 seconds. So either he wasn't caught up on the restart, or he's down quite a bit of RPM. And if he's down RPM, it's going to unfortunately be a long night for him. And it might be the end of the road for his chase in that case.
I think he couldn't get himself caught up with the pack. He did hit pit road one last time, and I think he was 11 seconds back prior to the restart. So Schmidt will have to bet on a caution to get himself situated. But for right now, he resides all the way in last in 19th place. Not necessarily last. Tyler Connors, Corey Long, David Bakken not in the race, but last on the lead lap.
Yeah, and with him only being 1 point ahead coming into tonight's race, he is currently on the outside looking in. So we still need some help in terms of probably some cautions and some people retiring from the race. As Kendrick and Weil go side by side here for 7th, and it looks like the 00 will take that spot away from the 41. But Chris is doing a good job fighting back up high as Cole Williams in the 42 right in front of both of these guys. And I think the 00 should be able to complete this pass out of 4. But the 41 gets the nose in up high. But the 00 will benefit off the draft of the 42 and will clear Weil here into 1.
Yeah, so here at Auto Club, a lot of racing real estate around this racetrack. Just about 5 lanes, and if the tire model and the track grooves were to be, you know, a bit more realistic, they would be all over the racetrack. But everybody's tucked to the bottom, and that means there's a lot of the margin of where you could enter into the corner and exit off is huge, but there's just one sweet spot that you want to exit off the corner, as we have a bit of side-by-side here for the top spot. It's Sheen working himself to the underside of Rosero. So will Sheen lead the lap at the line? Yes, he will. Sheen will get a bonus point, and at number 1, that's looking good for him. Oh, contact!
Contact! And the 23 goes up the hill, and that's going to cost him quite a bit of time, but it's going to cost the 1 some time as well. Here comes Harry Grindle on the bottom looking for the lead as Johnson gets by Rosero, as is Joe Burgee. So that contact is going to hurt both of them here as Grindle tries to make a move here for the lead to 3. And this could be a bonus point for the 70 as he tries to get himself from the outside into this chase.
Oh, Harry sideways off the corner. Looks like he did not get a good bite off, and they'll still be side by side, I think, but Sheen has the run onto the front straightaway. He'll lead it at the line, probably come down in front of the 70 as the 12 scoots himself to the backside of the 70. He sort of got boxed in line, nowhere to go for him.
Yeah, Johnson lost just a tad bit of time there as Sheen continues to try to pinch down the 70 as much as he can. Doing a good job of that right now as he clears out of turn 2. But Grindle, you know, really, really wants to get out front at least for a lap. Because again, these bonus points can end up being the difference in terms of who makes it and who doesn't. So Harry really needs to get himself by this 1 car, at least for a brief moment, to pick up even that single point. But it looks like Sheen's going to lead another one here out of 4.
Both of them sideways off the corner, and none of them got a good bite off, and they cancel each other out and stay first and second for right now. But this 12 of Hunter, he's coming. He's there. He's knocking on the door of these top 2, and if Hunter leads a lap, of course, extra bonus point added for good measures for the next round. It's not going to carry over to the next round, unfortunately. Only pulls and wins do. A pull earns you 1 bonus point, and a win earns you 3. Parker White in the Cup Series nearly pulled 2 wins in 1 round, and I don't know the last time we've seen that, as Rosero is going to work to the underside of this 12, but can't get the bite on in. We'll still see, seems as though they'll still be side by side. Never mind that, Hunter clears for that 3rd spot, but going back to what I was saying, bonus points only get earned through pulls and wins that carry over to the next round, but it doesn't carry on to the final round, though.
Yeah, of course, the finale is just whoever finishes the highest of the 4 remaining drivers is the champion, but it can at least help you get there. But Rosero dominated these first 10 or so laps with all of them, but that contact with him and Sheen has put that 23 back into 4th and hasn't quite been able to get those spots back yet. But it didn't hurt Liam as much as I thought. I would have thought Liam would have lost those spots as well, but he's doing a good job of pinching and holding on to that spot. As they're going to go 3 wide at the line, Miller, Kendrick, and Weil at 00 in an SPM sandwich here across the line. That is 7th, 8th, and 9th as they work their way into turn 1.
They're still 3 wide. Weil is going to probably have to use the 3rd lane to get a bite through, and Kendrick's sort of stuck in the middle, as you said, in an SPM sandwich. And they all 3 of them get bites off the corner, and they'll still be 3 wide, but Miller got a bad exit off of 2, so he's going to have to back out of it, probably follow either his teammate or that 00 through. Unfortunately, the loss of time off of 2. Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, pretty much this entire pack is all still together. It looks like first, I think, to around 13th or so, with Glenn Bundren in the 37, so still a pretty good-sized pack, you know, relatively speaking, of course. Only 19 cars out on the racetrack. Still a good chunk of them all still together, as Schmidt has gotten by Dominic Howell for 18th at 86 now, multiple laps down, so a point to the 79, though you see how far back he is. He definitely needs another yellow to come out for him to get himself back in the game, as here comes Grindle trying once again to get by that 1, but can't just get a good enough bite off the corner, and Sheen will lead another here this time by. And again, there is another bonus point on the line for leading the most laps, which of course the 23 currently holds as of now, but there's still a ton of this race left. But Liam definitely trying all he can to maybe pick up that bonus point, as well as the one he's already gotten for leading the ones he has.
Liam came in here 5th in points with 6,010. So, of course, put him 1 closer to Miller, who has 6,012. Unfortunately, he's going to have to probably rely off of finishing position as well as a win to bypass the 95 in terms of points and secure himself into the round of 7. And he is not alone. Harry is trying to lead his first laps of the race. Hunter Johnson at the 12 is not letting this top 2 go. And there's a big fight for 4th place, as Cole Williams, he's mirror driving this 23 as all the way to the white line, trying to fend out for that spot. And Rosero trying to block all 5 lanes. Opened up the door for the 83 at Berge, who did not get the corner right. He'll lose a position to Kendrick, who's now in 6th.
Yeah, that could have been bad. I thought the 23 might have ended up hooking the 42 there into 1, but thankfully that was not the case. As a battle for 2nd here, as Johnson will get by the 70 Grindle, as that will be an easy pass there for Johnson. Grindle might be able to cross over out of 4, but didn't quite get the bite necessary to do it. So Grindle's chase of Liam Sheen will have to put on hold for a bit, as he's now going to get by that 12 again. And these top 3 starting to separate themselves just a little bit, by about half a second now on 4th place Cole Williams. But it's still a pretty big hornet's nest back here for, looks like 6th to 7th, as Weil and Rosero now side by side for P6.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. Not a lot of drivers are really breaking away from each other. It's all been led by the one of Sheen for right now, but there hasn't been an outcast, especially, I'm very surprised. You know how much the tires get worn around at Auto Club, and even with the side-by-side racing that's going on mid-pack, seems as though the draft is playing a big key role on keeping the pack together. hence why the number 79 of William Schmidt, he's now down 16 seconds to 7th place of Henry Tabor, who's all by himself, and Max Urich as well, all by himself too. So, I find that a bit interesting.
Oh, I think Burgee just got the wall there out of turn 2, but it's a similar deal of sometimes what we see at plate tracks when, of course, the massive pack is all drafting together, and you got one guy all by himself, and he just tanks and loses a ton of seconds all at once. It's kind of happening here, but at a slower rate than it is, of course, at a track like Talladega. And Schmidt, I believe, was 11 seconds back on the restart, now down about 17. So he's lost about, I think, 6 seconds, but only in about 15 laps. So it's still going to be at that pace. I think another 15 or so laps before he has to start worrying about potentially being put a lap down. But for the 79, he probably needs a caution to come up before that and get 4 fresh tires on that car and try to get some of these spots back.
Harry's lost at least, looks like 5 positions from the time he was residing himself in 2nd spot. Now under fire from Miller, and you have Malachi Drake on the bottom trying to follow Miller through for that spot as well. Poindexter and Rosero all lined up to pass the 70 on the low side, and Harry got tied off of 4, and he's going to drop a spot to the 21 when outside line is no man's land. You don't want to be there, and it's just going to kill you if you miss the corner as well, especially with worn tires.
I think the 70 might have used up his stuff trying to get by the 1 Sheen and get that bonus point. He's now back into 9th place and continuing to lose spots further back as under fire now from Rosero and Bundren. So I think the 70 might have used up his tires trying to even get that 1 lap lead, and unfortunately for him, wasn't quite able to get there, and now he's falling further back in this pack and losing valuable points as he was up in that runner-up spot, but now barely hanging on to a top 10 run. Battle for the lead here. Hunter Johnson to the low side of Liam Sheen. The 1 will lead the lap at the line, but the 12 will have the run here on the bottom into 1. And this is a bonus point for the 12 if he could lead this lap, as the 42 Williams gets into the picture now too.
Yeah, 3 chasers all lined up 1st through 3rd, and it's Cole Williams in the 42 who's snuck into this battle. He might make it 3 wide as Sheen peeks himself to the bottom. Oh, that was close. That was nearly a wreck as Sheen is trying to keep himself up front. He'll drive it into the corner side by side with a 12. But man,
that's close. And out of 4, we'll see if Hunter can lead up high, as the 42 is going to go with the 12, and that'll benefit the 12 in the draft. And indeed, Hunter will lead his first lap and will clear the 1 at the line. So give that bonus point to the 12, and a valuable one as he tries to move on to the next round. So Hunter doing something now that the 70 at Grindle couldn't quite do. And now look at Kendrick trying to spoil this chase party, now up into 4th and into this top 3 battle.
Yeah, that's right. So it seems as though the drivers who were saving a bit of tires are now starting to filter toward the front. And this is just characteristics of Auto Club versus the surface versus the tire. Of course, saving your tires is going to benefit you, and here comes Williams trying to make a charge on Johnson. Williams really came out of nowhere off of this battle and is now challenging for this top spot, and he also dragged a non-chaser with him, that 00 of Ryan Kendrick, as Sheen is going to block him all the way to the apron. Good job by Sheen to sort of force the 00 out of the draft, so he pushed him all the way down to the apron where nobody's running, and Kendrick, unfortunately, can't pull forward on straightaways, but he can pull forward into turns, and he'll clear the 1 as Sheen right up off and move the 00 into 3rd.
I think Sheen might have used up his tires the same way that Grindle did, as the 70 now back into 10th place. So for the 1, he was able to lead a good chunk of laps, but I think you might see that 1 start to fall through the field a little bit, as out of turn 4, Cole trying to hold on for just at least a lap to get that 1 point. But here comes Johnson up high with help from Kendrick, and at the line it is going to be the 42. So give Cole a bonus point now for leading a lap. And again, we've seen bonus points be all the difference. So we'll see how these points end up shaping out this round of 7 at the end of the race. And the pole sitter, Micah Rosero, who led the first 10 laps of this race, had that slight bit of contact with Liam Sheen. He's now back into 13th.
Cole got loose off of 2. Kendrick decided not to take it 3 and press the issue, but Cole, huge send into 3. He'll go drive up alongside the 12, but we'll see if he can get a bite off of turn number 4, and We'll keep it side by side with 12. I'm very surprised about that. Cole with a nice send in there, but he'll use up the right sides doing that. So you only really get one shot at making yourself evident for that lead. And you gotta use up your right sides, sending it into the corner, especially into 3 like that. So you gotta be wary of how aggressive you wanna be throughout this run. And we're 28 laps in to this 28 laps into their run, and yeah, I also mentioned the caution, which was I think 3 or 4 laps. We'll pull up race summary. It was 3 laps, so do the math. So then that would be 25 green flag laps they have logged out on the racetrack. So we're coming up on a fuel window here relatively shortly. I'd say in around maybe 5 to 7 laps from now. So they're not going to be able to make it on one stop alone. So I'm pretty sure everybody in this pack is probably going to stretch it all the way on fuel. And we'll see on when the rest of the field is going to hit pit road. How it'll all turn out for them.
I think we could see a scenario, and it's Weil hits pit road already. So this is interesting because Weil is not going to make it to the end from here, as the 7 of Henry Tabor also will hit pit road. And I think if these guys stretch it all the way, I believe the window was 35 to 40 laps, if I'm not mistaken. So with a run now of about 25-26, they could probably stretch it, I think, to about, I want to say around 38-39. So I think they might be about 5 short there. So it's going to be really, really close. But the 41 of Weil definitely is not going to make it. He's going to lose the lap here as he just now makes his way off of pit road. But with those fresh tires, I think he'll just drive through the field, and he may only be a lap down for a brief moment.
Of course, you don't want a caution to come out, as well as going to fling it into 3 and swoop by this number 42 of Cole Williams, who looks like a sitting duck right up off. And here comes Hunter. He'll work himself down on the pit road. So Hunter, too, is electing with a 2-stop strategy, and it's going to be followed in by Poindexter. I think these drivers who recently hit pit road this time, they didn't want to stretch the fuel mark. Rather, they want tires now to pull themselves a track position for the short run. And I think they might be playing the third strategy, split 85 into 3, and you'll get your numbers. So do the math, 85 divided by 3. That's every 28 laps they want to hit pit road. And here we are, 28 laps in on this run off of the green. Perfect number to go ahead and split it for the next 28 laps, coming to your final stop.
We'll see if anybody else joins these guys on pit road. We got at least one taker. Cole dives it in very late, as Liam Sheen also. So those two will make their way down pit road. That'll put Kendrick to the lead for the time being. And now Miller into second and Malachi into third. So I think you're going to see a scenario here where Miller and I think Malachi are going to try to see how long the 00 decides to stay out. Because for those two, they're thinking bonus point here. And if Kendrick comes in this time by, the 95 will likely stay out, because those two have not gotten up to the lead quite yet tonight. And this is going to perhaps play to their disadvantage now that a lot of these guys in the lead lap have already come down pit road. And here comes Carson in the 21 trying to unlap himself. And looks like Kendrick's going to stay out another lap, which means Miller and Malachi will also have to. And that's going to cost them more time on the other end as guys like Hunter and Carson complete their service.
Yeah, so seems as though we have two distinct strategies. You want to either A, stretch it out to the end on gas, or B, try to split the run into thirds. So with the amount of cars on the racetrack right now, only 15 drivers on the racetrack, I don't think we're going to see a caution except for maybe on the later half of the race. So you might as well play in a gamble for this first stop and seeing how it'll all turn out. But for those drivers on... Actually, I'll ask you the question. What strategy would you rather rely off? Do you want to stretch the fuel all the way, or do you want to come in for tires and hopefully the short run plays to your advantage?
Man, it's honestly such a tricky question to answer, because the pendulum could swing in either direction, so it's really hard to tell, I think, which one may end up working out better. But for Miller and Malachi, I don't know if they really want to stay out necessarily. I think, again, they want to just get the bonus point for leading the lap, but Kendrick and Bundren are sitting there in front of him 1-2, so I think they want to come down pit road sooner, at least in my personal opinion, I think they do. But as long as the 00 and the 37 stay out, that their plan is not going to be able to be used. So wouldn't surprise me actually Kendrick's going to come in now, and Miller will follow suit. But I think Malachi just stayed out as Miller slides him in. So Bundren will lead the lap, and for Malachi, I'm sure he's hoping that Bundren will pit next time so he can finally get that bonus point and then come in himself.
So that means there is a 5 to 6 lap difference between splitting the run into thirds and stretching it all the way on fuel. So, of course, with these drivers out on the racetrack, for Malachi and Parker White's case, they could actually run a bit more laps out on the racetrack because they pit on that first caution. So I think we're going to see Bundren on the pit road this time by. Will scoot himself maybe left. No, never minded that. So make that fuel mark around 36 is the largest you could stretch it. So Miller, where's Miller out now? He's all the way back in 13th spot, and Kendrick too. So I mean, half the field elected with one strategy, half the field elected with the other. And with you see the difference in everybody out on the racetrack. Of course, staying out more is gonna cost you a lot of time to the drivers with fresh tires, but once the whole entire run cycles out, you're gonna be the driver on the freshest tires. And Auto Club, I think it matters. Tires matter a whole bunch here, so it's gonna be interesting to see on who's gonna have the better advantage with tires by the end of it, and can they use it to pull themselves to the front.
Going to be interesting to see for sure, as Parker White has gotten by Malachi Drake for second. Of course, he also has not come down pit road yet. And you mentioned that the guys that are staying out longer are going to end up on fresher tires once they come off of pit road, but we're going to see if these guys end up all in a pack together once this whole thing cycles out. Because you can see a situation like Talladega maybe where we have multiple packs that end up forming, as it looks like Bundren and Parker White are both going to come in. So now Malachi can finally stay out to lead a lap. So I would assume that the 90 will probably make his way down pit road next time. So Malachi finally got those guys to pit. And so he will be able to come down next time by now that he's gotten that all-important bonus point. But I could see mini packs end up forming maybe 3-4 cars apiece, like we sometimes see at plate tracks when, different guys decide to pit on different laps, as Grindle hits pit road as well. We'll so see if that happens, or if maybe the whole pack can try to form back together like it was for a while off the restart.
I think since the strategy was varied around, I don't see them being all together anymore. It's all gonna matter on how strategy the tire strategy is gonna play out for you. So Malachi's gonna stay out another lap. He could stretch the fuel mark to, I think, around 38, 39. Gonna cut it close on the fuel with just 47 laps to go. So I'll have to save at least 5 laps on fuel to make it on just this one pit stop. And if he wants to 2-stop it, it's not out of question. He doesn't have to fill it all the way up. Just half a tank of fuel and 2 tires maybe can be the call, and that could also gain you some track position as well. So Malachi will scoot himself left on the pit road. We'll see if this is the right strategy call to stay yourself as long as you can out in the racetrack, and this will hand the lead to the 41 of Christopher Weil. But Weil, he hit pit road 10 laps ago, and he's now under fire from the man who is just leading the race, that number 42, Cole Williams. So all these 3 drivers all in a line, and it's Cole with the freshest tires out of this whole entire group. And you also see 4 drivers right here, so maybe they did get regrouped.
Yeah, I think we're seeing one of those mini pods perhaps form. I think it's only these 4 guys that are together, as Malachi will make his way off of pit road, 4 tires and fuel for him, and we'll see where he cycles down in terms of positions out on the track. But the 41, again, with him pitting so early, if he stretches it out to around 40 laps, he's going to have to come in again, I think, around 68 or 69 And I think Hunter and Cole can stretch it out to maybe 72, 73. So we could see a similar deal to what we're seeing right now, but it could perhaps play in the opposite direction. Or maybe it will play the same way again because the 41 will have to pit earlier than the guys behind him do again. This could really go either way, but for right now, the field seems pretty spread out aside from these four.
Yeah, it seems as though Weil is staying intact with the rest of the drivers on fresher tires, so maybe opting with to split the run into thirds may be the call here for this one. Weil was not really necessarily outside of the top 5, but with his track position now, he leads this pod of 4. And we have to scroll all the way back to 3.6 seconds to Carson Poindexter and Nick Miller, who are all by themselves, as well as the 00 of Ryan Kendrick. And they're not catching at a good enough rate to maybe catch this top 4. So maybe they have to offset their strategy to get themselves out on fresher tires to pull themselves forward. So Weil hit a 0.3, and I mean, Kendrick hit a 42-second lap time, so they're still catching, but relatively slowly as Miller gets sideways off of 2.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the intervals are here, because I'm not sure how far back these guys actually are. Sheen will make a move on Hunter for 3rd, and he'll get that spot. So, of course, these 4 are all together right now, but I'm not sure how far back the 95 and the 00 are. And it looks like for them, it's only about 4.5, around 5 seconds, so I think the 95 and the 00 are going to catch the 21 pretty soon, so that could be about a pot of 3. So the top 4 will be together, and then the next 3 behind them will be together, and it's another ways to Parker White and Glenn Bundren, and another 4 to Burgee and Rizzero. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be about mini pods here, and Malachi's going to end up all by himself in 13th place. So he's going to have no drafting help from anybody. So that's going to end up costing him, I think, some time, despite the fact that he's got the freshest tires in the field.
Yeah, that's right. He needed somebody to go with his strategy to maybe have some bit of drafting help. I mean, Harry Grindle, he hit pit road 5 laps ago, but unfortunately out of reach from the 70, and seems as though we got a battle up front for this lead. It's Cole Williams.
Cole's got it.
Yeah, I mean, Cole's going to grab the lead away from this 41 of Weil.
Yeah, and Cole led the lap at the line, but the 41 did get some valuable points there for leading those laps. So if that was Chris's objective, then objective checked off. So we'll see if he can maybe hold on for a while. But remember, these 2 were the 1st and 2nd finishing drivers last week at Watkins Glen, but in the reverse order, it was Chris that got the win and Cole that got 2nd. So a little bit of role reversal going on here. But what a story it would be if these 2 finished 1-2 again, but they just end up switching places here this week compared to last.
Cole is not really pulling away from the 41 a while, who could latch on to the tail to this draft. The 42 is leading upon him, and as well as the 1 of Sheen, the 12 of Hunter Johnson, could also work a draft into favor. So, in the case of fuel, the man who's probably going to one-stop it, has a potential to one-stop it, not saying he's going to, is only going to be Malachi Drake, who's all by himself right now. He's 5 laps into his, what would be a 36, 37 lap run. And not only that, the number 90 might be saving a bit of fuel as well. So, I mean, he's the only person on his strategy. If he could make it just on this one stop, he's going to earn himself a win, become the first driver to win in all, not all 3 series. He didn't win in the Cup Series, but he's going to... Did he?
I'm almost certain he did.
Did he? I don't remember. I think he... Either he did or didn't. He picked up 2 wins in the Truck Series.
He won the Truck Series at Bristol, and I know for a fact he won a Cup race at a 1.5 mile track. I forget which one it was, but he won somewhere. But
it was Kansas he won at, but he won it in the Truck Series, so...
Oh, was it 2 in the... Okay.
Yeah, so it was 2 in the trucks, but I thought it was 3 as the 1 per series, but never minded that. But either way, Malachi Drake's in the best fuel scenario for right now. And should be interesting to see if he's going to be able to stretch it all the way by himself. And he does have a... He's 15 seconds behind the leader. Oh, that number 42, Cole Williams. So, again, you could stretch it all the way to 36, 37. With 7 laps into the run, 39 laps to go. I mean, the only thing you could really do is potentially splash and go to get some track position, and that'll leave you with at least 2, 3-ish laps to go. So, Malachi, he's going to have to do a bit of saving if he does want to one-stop it, but I'm curious to see on how the strategy will be played out by him once he does hit pit road. And Liam Sheen has picked up a bit of right side damage on his machine. He'll fall into the hands of 4th, as Hunter Johnson will work himself on by.
Yeah, the only... Oh, that voice crack was horrible. The only way that I can see Malachi's strategy really working out for him is if he can make it all the way. Because otherwise, he would just cost himself a whole lot of time and a whole lot of track position. So if he can save enough to make it perhaps all the way when the guys in front of him certainly aren't going to be able to do that, then I think it's worth his while. But if he can't make it to the end, then he's going to be in a tough scenario where he's going to finish, I think, as one of the last cars out on the racetrack. And coming in below the cut line, that may not be enough to make allow him to advance.
And with everybody so spread out, I mean, this race could just work off of one caution, and that'll be it. And in Schmidt's case, it's not looking good. He came in here tonight as the last person in, and Malachi, the man who's right behind him, he sits in 10th. So Malachi is 4 positions ahead of Schmidt. So that means 3 points ahead.
This is a battle for position here, though. That's Burgie has caught Malachi. Actually, no, did Burgie cat? I don't know which one was which, but Burgie is going to pass Malachi here nonetheless. This is 4/10. Yeah, I forget which one was ahead of the other, but a battle for 10th nonetheless. And these to go side by side out of 2. Malachi doing a good job of fending off on the high side. We'll see if Burgie can perhaps complete this pass into 3. But the 90 clears for right now, as Rosero there in the distance, maybe waiting for one of these two to maybe make a mistake.
Malachi, even though he has fresher tires, Burgie's still pulling up some of... still a fight. And you see the battle here for 3rd going on, while in Liam Sheen going hand in hand. It's also Kendrick and Miller going at it as well. So Cole is slowly starting to pull away from 2nd place Hunter Johnson. I'm just curious on when they're going to hit pit roads, because all these people in the upper half of this, all the drivers who are on the lead in this pack right now, are all drivers who elected with the 3rd strategy. So I'm not sure if they're going to change up the strategy and probably stretch it all the way to the end so they could just splash and go for the rest of it, or come down on the pit road once you're 28 laps into the run yet again, and that'll be your final pit stop. So in the case of Christopher Weil, it worked out for him. I mean, he led some laps out in the racetrack, and unfortunately he's not the leader currently, but regardless, to round yourself inside this top 5 for using that strategy is going to be enough to pull himself forward. And regardless, I still think Weil is going to move himself on if the strategy doesn't work, because he won Watkins Glen. He won the pole there. He does have some bonus points on his resume to carry on over. So,
well, the key here is that with only 33 laps to go, if he were to retire from the race right now, the lowest he can finish is 16th if Yurik were to come back on track and complete the rest of the laps. So that's currently that, and if assuming that the people that need to get by him are, win the race, that's 15 spots. He's already gotten a bonus point tonight and came in 14 above the cut line. So Weil is pretty much guaranteed into the next round at this point, and he'll have those bonus points from winning to do that. As Sheen pulls down to the bottom, I'm not really sure what that was about, but Sheen will drop a couple spots here to Miller and Kendrick, and it looks
Sheen's
like
going to pit road. Wow, so
this is interesting. He can make it from here, and I was just about to mention that Weil is already 25 laps on his run, so he'll have to come in the next 10, 15 laps. But Sheen doing the same thing Weil did before and coming in super early. And again, for the 1, he can make it all the way from here on fuel. So this is certainly going to be interesting see if this all pans out for him.
Yeah, he's gonna elect on with the short run strat, and he has to make up as much time on the racetrack once he heads off a pit road, and it all matters about on who's gonna be offering up a draft for you, as well as hitting consistent laps throughout the run. So Sheen an early short pit to pull himself maybe inside the top 3, and Sheen came in here tonight 5th in points, and 1 point ahead of Bergie, 2 points ahead of Malachi, 3 points ahead, no, 4 points ahead of Harry. So for Sheen, oh, don't want to do that, sideways off the corner, gonna burn up that right rear just a bit, but
Poor cone.
yeah, rip the cone in the process, and Sheen will be in 14th place, currently 1 lap down, the only person 1 lap down, as Miller makes a shot in for 3rd. Who else is going to follow Sheen on the pit road? And looks like it's going to be Schmidt, but
I thought I saw the 41 maybe slowing down, but I guess he didn't come down through right. I thought for a second he might have, but he just got passed there by Kendrick and Miller. So Schmidt will make his way down pit road now, and again, he's really been at a disadvantage all race since that lap 1 incident happened. Currently in 14th place, only other car a lap down besides Liam Sheen. So it's been a rough go of it so far for the 79, and for right now, he would be out of the chase if the results as they run stand. So he really needs some help from other guys out on the racetrack if he wants to move on to the next round. And it looks like Hunter's going to come in this time.
yeah, so Hunter works himself down on the pit road, will lock it in and smooth entry to get yourself situated for the final stop of the night. It seems as though the gap between Liam and Malachi is fairly big. So Sheen is all the way in turn number 2, and Malachi is all the way entering 1. So if Malachi has a ton of room to tinker around with to save 5 laps of fuel and make it all the way to the end with just 1 stop, I mean, it's not out of question. We've seen people pull off fuel gambles here at Auto Club. Flashback to Glenn Bundren Jr. pulling the gamble off as here comes Cole. He'll work himself on the pit road.
So this is really interesting, and now Miller will take the lead as Kendrick and Weil will also stay out. So now we're starting to see some differing strategies, and it looks like some of the guys that pit later the last time are going to pit earlier this time. So we're seeing a bit of a reversal here in terms of how these strategies are being employed. So I think we're going to see more people come down over these next couple of laps. Guys like Miller and Kendrick, now that the 95's picked up another, well, actually not another point, but another lap led, I think he'll come down soon as Kendrick will take the race lead, and this could be a sign that Miller's coming in. As Cole makes his way off, the 95 will make his way in.
Miller on in, clean entry as he, no, never mind, not a clean entry, he'll lock it up, getting it down to pit road speed. It's 60 miles per hour on pit road that these drivers have to watch out for. And you see Harry Grindle, he too is going to hit pit road. Joe Berging the 83, he too, huge slide on in. And man, that might have looked like
Hopefully
speeding.
he didn't speed.
He stopped early, that might have been it.
Uh-oh.
That might have been it. He might have gotten speeding and called it quits, so... Oh, man. So, Bergie came in here as a chase driver. I'm not sure why he alt F4'd off of that. You could still try to salvage off a 14th place, but...
That might not be enough.
It's... I mean... Yeah, it might not be enough. I mean, Joe came in here 6th in points.
Yeah, he
might have thrown away to his race.
Yeah, and as Weil hits pit road now from, I think, 3rd, and yeah, I think Bergie might have just called it quits here. So that means he's probably going to finish, I think, 14th, and depending on where Schmidt finished, neither of them got a bonus point for leading a lap. So that, it could be really, really close between the two of them. And I think the last spot could potentially come down. But it also might not, because they both could potentially end up eliminated tonight. So we're really not going to know until the checkered flag flies. But
Harry's speeding, by the way.
And that is not good for the 70, and he came in as one of the 3 on the outside looking in, so with the way they're running right now, they're 12th, 13th, and 14th, so right now I think those are the 3 that would not advance, with Malachi now the 5th staying out.
Yeah, that's right, so, oh man. So...
that might I don't know if that I wouldn't say that's it. There's still 24 to go, but I think it's starting to become a bit clearer now, perhaps.
Yeah, what was a vague picture coming in is now slowly starting to shape forward, and now it's all going to come down to how many positions Schmidt can gain on the racetrack. I mean, currently, he's ahead of Joe, finishing ahead, by... If he finishes ahead of Joe by 1 spot, they're going to be tied, but based off of statistics...
But they could both be eliminated, and it wouldn't matter.
That's right, but if they were to tie and one of them has to get in, it would probably come. It has to reverse to a tiebreaker. So, the tiebreaker would be on top 5s, and Joe has 1, Schmidt has 2. So, Malachi on pit road. Oh man, that's a surprise.
So he can't make it. So the key here as Carson hits pit road is that Harry lost a 2nd lap because of the speeding penalty. So Grindle is in a very, very tough spot. So Grindle's, if this thing goes green all the way, the 70's going to be stuck a lap down for the rest of the race. And that might not be enough to get him in. That speeding penalty, unfortunately, may have done him in for the chase as Kendrick continues to stay out, as well as Bundren, White, and Rosero. So we'll have 22 to go at the line, but that those speeding penalties to Burgee and Harry looks like they might have done them in here for this round.
Dang, man. So that means the final car to probably advance forward is gonna, if Schmidt,
Well, Schmidt might be out too, though.
Yeah, Schmidt might be out as well.
Might miss. I think now it's because, again, Schmidt came in a point ahead of Malachi coming into tonight's race, and Malachi has gotten a bonus point for leading a lap, and
right.
Schmidt has not, which means that they're effectively tied coming into tonight. So I think at this point it's going to be whichever one of those 2 finishes ahead of the other is going to make their way in. And currently Malachi is sitting 11th, and Schmidt is sitting 12th. So for right now, I think Malachi would be the last one in by a point over Schmidt. And I think Burgee and Grindle would also miss if it finishes the way it is right now.
But man, Harry is not going to have enough points to bypass Joe. Harry came in here with 6,007. Joe came in with 6,009. So, Joe gains a point over,
Burgee retired
Joe
race,
only,
so 1 point.
So Joe only loses 1 point to Harry. So
Burgee still, I think, so Grindle, I think, would be is 10th right now out of everybody. As Kendrick will pit from the lead, that'll give the lead to the 37 of Glenn Bundren. And I think him and Parker White are the only 2 now that have not pit. And I think Rosero might not have either. As the 00 will make his final stop of the night. As the 23 of Rosero picked up the pole here in tonight's race and led the first 10 or so laps before that contact with Sheen sent him a bit further through the field. Got his first win at Martinsville last night. So definitely momentum on the 23 side. As he might have a battle for the lead here soon unless one of these 2 pits, that's Bundren and White, now out of turn 4 with the 00 pitting. So these 2 trying to stretch it as long as possible, but I don't think these 2 can make it to the end from here.
no, they can't, and they're on the same strategy as well. So, more drivers in and out. So, only have 4 more drivers yet to hit pit road. It's Glenn, Parker, Rosero, as Rosero will scoot himself left onto pit road. So, final stop of the day, gonna come in with 19 laps to go, and Bundren and White gonna be the last ones left. So it seems as though the call for Malachi Drake to stay out, to have the freshest tires at the end, does not play out to his favor, And he loses a ton of time. Not only that, he is currently 1 lap down to that number 37, Glenn and Parker, who have yet to hit pit road. Rosero now works himself on in.
Well, the key factor now is the fact that the 83 is now out of this race. So
Right.
I think Burgee is definitely going to be out now because of that. And with him no longer in the session, that means if any other chaser retires after this, they're still going to finish ahead of Burgee. So I think the 83 at this point is out no matter what happens. And it's just going to be, I think, between Malachi, Schmidt, and Grindle. But with the 72 laps down, I think he's going to miss as well. So again, it's going to come down to Malachi and Schmidt, I think, when this is all said and done. And again, those two running right now 10th and 12th. So
Yeah.
Schmidt, I don't know how much of a chance the 79 really has since that lap 1 wreck happened. He's been, nowhere near the front all night, unfortunately. And I think at this point, the only way Schmidt gets in is if Malachi has a major problem, like a hardware issue or something, or if a yellow were to come out that shakes the whole field up.
Yeah, that's
It's going to
right.
take a lot.
17 laps to go this time by. Bundren's still leading it. He's yet to hit pit road. The man on the best strategy as of right now is Cole Williams in the 42. So he's out ahead from Hunter Johnson by 2.4 seconds. And
Yeah, he's going to assume the lead once the 37 and the 095 pit.
And the call to short pit by Sheen seems as though it just didn't work out. He's going to be in 3rd by the end of it, most likely. And Miller, meanwhile, just about pit on the same time as each other. So Poindexter 6 laps out in the racetrack. Kendrick with 3. It is really fanning out the field a ton. So you have to see Bundren and White work themselves onto pit road.
I think at this point they're just going to try to stretch it as absolutely long as possible. I mean, again, I don't think they're going to make it to the end, but I think they're just going to go until it runs dry now. As the 70 of Grindle is going to get one of his laps back here in the next couple laps. There he is coming up on Parker. But again, that speeding penalty really put the 70 in a bad spot. So Grindle, like Schmidt, is going to need a caution to come out. And he's going to need a caution to come out after he gets this lap back. Because if a caution comes out before he gets by the 37, then he'll still be a lap down. But Bundren's coming in.
All right, and Parker White's going to follow.
So that'll put the 42 back up front. And there's Schmidt in the 79.
Oh, man.
Geez.
Parker's trying to speed through on the entry to close the gap between himself and Bundren. So here we go. Final pit stop of the day for these two drivers. Don't really have to fill it up all the way and just get yourself in and out. I don't know if a 2-tire call is going to be viable. I mean, it's not going to be. I mean, they've yet to hit in their stall, and there's Cole, and there's Johnson as well. So now with the whole pit cycle through, as Bundren, oh my goodness, had to whip it around and do a 360 to get himself into his stall. Now does so as he jacks the right sides on it. Bad pit stop by the 37. He's probably gonna get railed down. Maybe a lap down. So
that could be a spot for the 79 and the 70, perhaps.
yeah, that maybe a spot. So
the 70 again, he just got his lap back. So we'll see where the 70 and the 42 are now compared to the 37. So Schmidt is there.
But he's on 17 lap older tires than this number 37 of Bundren.
That's
So
the issue too. So it might be temporary. Actually, Schmidt might not even get there at all now.
yeah, he's not gonna get there.
But now the other part of this is if a caution comes out, Schmidt is not going to be the first car to lap down. Because, well, actually he might be, because the 37 I think is going to stay ahead of the 42. But if a yellow comes out, it's going to really flip everything on its head. And Grindle, with him being the second car lap down, if a yellow were to come out and everybody else were to pit, Grindle would have to stay out for the wave around. And that would mean he'd have to restart on older tires anyway. So I think the 70 right now is in the toughest spot out of anybody. But still 12 to go to figure out what exactly will happen. But based off of what we've seen, I think we might start to know at this point who's going to make it in.
So I'm doing calculations right now and seeing how this will all pop out. Doing it the Ratchet way. Parker is going to get 14 points if he finishes there. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. 14, 13. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Harry gets 10. Schmidt gets 11. Joe gets 9. So without any bonus points or anything like that, let me do a quick function here. If I
10 to go up the line. 42 continues to lead the field here as we get some quick maths done here. Currently 4.5 seconds is the advantage for Williams over the 12 of Johnson. Chasers currently 1 through 5 onto the racetrack. Kendrick, the highest running non-chaser there.
Oh man! Okay, so we got an interesting scenario. So Poindexter will be in by 1 point. If this is all said and done, William needs to pass one driver.
I forgot about...
Yeah,
okay,
we all missed Poindexter.
I forgot about Carson this whole time. Oh
so,
my.
Yeah, so
Bergie may not be done yet.
Yeah, so Bergie, William cannot lose any more positions. William's the first person out for right now. He needs to get by Rosero, but it looks like it's not going to happen. And what William needs to happen is what Joe needs to happen is for William and Harry to have some sort of mistake. But Harry's currently dead last in points for right now. So Poindexter seems as though he has not really a threat around him. I mean, no, he does have a threat. Never mind. Parker White, as Glenn is in and out of pit road. So this will now change up the points yet again.
Yeah, Bondrin is last on track.
So now he's last on the racetrack. So gotta recalculate points yet again. So 8 laps to go.
Really close.
It's gonna be very, very close. It's closer than I thought. And we had a total of 22 drivers show up, and this is not including bonus points, by the way. Miller for second place on. Oh, we got a huge battle here for second.
Yeah, this is second, third, and fourth right now. All three of these guys are practically safe as Miller and Weil really going at it there. As Weil is almost going to make contact there with Johnson. And out of 4, these three are really going at it here. All of these guys 5.5 seconds behind Cole Williams in the 42. And it looks like Hunter's going to lose both of these spots as Miller blocks the 12 almost into the outside wall. And they go 3 wide for second here into 1. And we'll see who comes out on top of this battle.
Oh man, they're all over each other. If a caution gets sparked off of this, oh my goodness, throw a wrench into all of that. They're still all over each other.
So Miller takes the spot. The 12 had it, but the 12 is going to lose both of these. Trying to hold off Weil for right now, but I think the 41 will prevail, and indeed he will. Man, that could have gotten really hairy really fast. It looks like this battle has situated itself, but that side-by-side allowed Cole to gain an extra second, and his advantage over these three now upwards of almost 6 seconds.
So by the looks of it, so excluding out the rest of the top 5, the way the points are gonna pull out, without any bonus points. So gotta keep in mind, no bonus points are added into this data set that I've reeled forward. The man who's gonna get eliminated. Oh my goodness, we got a tie! It's Schmidt and Poindexter who are tied because Glenn is now 2 laps down, so Poindexter and Schmidt are tied. And Malachi is 1 point ahead of this mess.
And Malachi is 10 seconds clear of Rosero with 5 laps to go.
But also gotta mention, Malachi, he has laps led, so...
Yeah, he has the bonus points.
Yeah, he has bonus points, so that'll put him 2 ahead of the cut. And based off of statistics, who has the more top 5s?
Yeah, the 21, the 79, the 70, and the 83 did not lead a lap. They did not get a bonus point, but I believe every other chaser led at least 1 lap tonight, including the 90th Malachi. As 4 to go at the line, as Weil and Miller are going to battle it out for second place, as these two started to pull away from the 12 of Johnson. So, again, these two are pretty much locked in, but I guess still going at it here for this spot, as Weil's going to have a run up high on his teammate here, side by side down the backstretch, and this will allow the 42 to pull away even more, as his gap now about 6.5 seconds on these two.
Okay, so what's interesting is if Poindexter and Schmidt tie, the tiebreaker is gonna go to Poindexter. He has 3 top 5s over Schmidt's 2. So, oh my goodness, 2 laps to go, and Poindexter looks like no potential spots to be gained off of that, and Schmidt as well as...
I don't know. He's got Parker White was 3 seconds behind Poindexter. That gap is now down to about 1.3.
And Parker's on 9 lap fresher tires than Poindexter, so can Parker close the gap between himself and Poindexter?
Look ahead, though. Poindexter's only a second behind Liam Sheen. So it could be a battle here. If those 3 end up together, like in a little pod with about 1.5, 2 laps to go, it could end up coming down to a single position that determines who gets in and who gets out. But Carson's got to really approach this interestingly, because he knows he's got the 1 ahead of him that he can try to catch, because the 1's on older tires, but the 095 has got fresher tires than both of these guys do. So for Carson, if he knows that the 095 might get by him, he needs to really get by that 1 car just in case the 095 passes him.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Liam's on 30 lap older tires, Poindexter's on 21 lap older tires, and Parker White's on 12. So Poindexter seems as though he's closing in on the 1, and that'll probably seal it. No, he's gonna gun for the position. I would rather play it safe, but looks like Poindexter is gonna get around the number 1.
White flag for Cole Williams in the meantime. Got second here in the truck race around a month ago, as here comes Carson at the line. It's going to be the 21, but can he hold on for another lap? There's contact between the 2 of them, and here comes Parker White in the 1. More contact between the 21 and the 1, and here comes the 095. As he's really set in, he gets loose, and the 21's going to be clear of both of these guys, and that might be enough to get him into the next round.
Yup, that's right.
Coming in middle of turn 3 and out of turn 4, Cole Williams, after winning his first race last week at Watkins Glen, will win another one here tonight, and he will take the checkered flag here at Auto Club, and he will advance on to the round of 7.
Oh my goodness, that exchange with Parker White and Liam Sheen. And yeah, it looks like Parker is all over the place, but in the meantime, Poindexter rounds himself out 6th, so that...
I think he's good.
I think he's good, finishing in 6th spot.
Weil's 2nd, he's in. Miller's 3rd, he's in. Johnson's 4th, he's clear. And I think the 21 is going to have enough. So I think the 3 that might be out are Schmidt, Grindle, and Burgee. We'll have to figure this all out during the commercial break. But congratulations once again to the 42 of Cole Williams, who again was the runner-up to Weil in this truck race here a month ago. And now those 2 are the same 1-2 finishers, but this time the 42 comes out on top over the 41. And a job well done, as the fuel strategy plays directly into his favor, and he'll burn it down here tonight at his home track.
Yeah, how about that for Cole Williams? It's amazing. About time he picked up an Xfinity win. I mean, we mentioned how he was leading points the majority of the season, and we'll go ahead and whip it down on the front straightaway. Easy in for him, as he'll carry on 3 extra bonus points onto next week as well. But will calculate points by right now. This is live calculation, and by the looks of it, seems as though for that 7th spot, Malachi Drake is the last person in by 2 points. So the 90 does survive. And the first one eliminated is William Schmidt.
So I think Carson and Malachi both are clear. So, I mean, it really did come down to just a handful of points.
That's right. I mean, that whole entire final lap exchange, I can't explain much of that.
Yeah, Carson and Malachi ended up tied for 6th in points. But before we get there, unofficial results here in the race. Cole Williams gets his 2nd ever iSCAR win and wins consecutive weeks. Christopher Weil ends up in 2nd place, and he'll have some bonus points for the next round. Nick Miller, solid run tonight in 3rd. Hunter Johnson in 4th. Ryan Kendrick, solid top 5 run for him in 5th. Carson Poindexter, by the slimmest of margins, will get himself into the next round. He ends up 6th. Parker White, Liam Sheen, Malachi Drake, he gets in as well. And Michael Rosero, tonight's pole sitter, will round out your top 10.
It's going to be Schmidt in 11th, Harry 12th, Bundren, Joe Tabers. The rest of the top 15, Uric, Sampson, White, Dominic, Connors round out the rest. No, not the rest of the order. Not Joe Berge, Corey Long, David Bachman, rest of the order right there. And we'll be right back right after this, as Cole's taking a Polish victory lap around this 2-mile racetrack. And man, what a race from start to finish. As we're going to see ourselves trackside and pull in the top 3 in after these messages.
Is rolling out for the start of today's 400 lap race on this 0.625 mile racetrack. And just as the field comes all around turn number 4, the sunshine peeks through, helping warm things here. Bill Elliott leads him down. Benny Parsons on the outside. The green flag flies, and the first Union 400 Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro is underway. Everybody nicely through turns number 1 and 2 as Bill Elliott has the lead, and Dale Earnhardt has jumped into 2nd position, followed by Benny Parsons and Bobby Allison. So here we go. It's just about to go away. They both coming out of turn 4. Earnhardt gets the lead. We had just heard from our spotters that Neil Bonnett. Dale Earnhardt is on his last lap. This will be his 24th career win. Dale Earnhardt wins the first Union 400 in North Wilkesboro.
Welcome you all back here live for tonight's event, iSCAR DeNise Design Series live here at the Auto Club Raceway. Auto Club Speedway, and again, we calculated points, and seems as though, the way it all turned out at the end, for William Schmidt, Joe Berge, Harry Grindle, unfortunate for them, their hopes of winning a championship here in iSCAR have been dashed.
Yeah, and it really did come down to the very, very end as Carson and Malachi tied for 6th, and unfortunately for William Schmidt, he was 2 points behind those two, and that lap 1 wreck really put him behind the 8 ball all night, and unfortunately wasn't really able to recover from that. But what a race it was, and it went green all the way from lap 4, which I think surprised me and probably surprised a lot of people. But the 42 of Cole comes out on top, and after taking quite a while to win his first race, he's now won in back-to-back weeks, and after finishing 2nd the first time here, gets redemption on Weil and comes out on top this time. So enough from us, we'll drag that 42 into the booth and see what he's got to say about his win here tonight and his chances at the title.
Up and in he goes. Cole will carry on 3 extra bonus points onto the round at number 7. And Cole, man, about time he picked up an Xfinity Series win. He led the majority of the points during the regular season. Here in the playoffs, for you to pick up your first win and carry this momentum forward, it's looking to be good for you for these next couple of rounds onto the Final Four. Cole, first off, man, congratulations for playing the strategy outright. So walk me through your whole entire race.
Yeah, man, it's awesome to get the win in my home track, Fontana. I love this track so much. Auto Club, one of the oldest surfaces out there. Saving tires is key. The B car, favorite car, so it's basically the favorite car and track, basically combo as well. To run out here and to be able to get the win is just awesome, man. I knew we were gonna need to pit basically around the same lap that Hunter did. That was gonna be the one car basically I had to contend with. It's great to be able to save tires and be able to actually have some speed on the long run. And we had some good battle in there at the end of the first stint. We were able to get around him on the outside. I was pretty upset when I was getting a little bit loose. It was kind of surprising. I don't know why I was getting snappy loose, but a great battle with everyone. Pit strategy came into it a little bit. Knew we needed to basically cover off when he pit. I knew there was going to be some people that try to go long. I knew they were just not going to have enough time, or people that were going to try to short pit. I think what Liam did, and I knew that was probably going to be too early, unless if he got out to like a 5-second lead. And obviously he didn't, so we were able to get by. And then from there, we were just saving tires. And I think Hunter hit the wall a couple times or got tight because we were gaining a lot of time. So, we're just taking care of the car at the end, and it's awesome to get the win at this track, man. I love this place.
That's right, you proved why you loved it, and you pick up your first checkered flag of the season here in this series, your second ever iSCAR win, of course. The last week you picked the one in the truck series at Watkins Glen, and here tonight an Xfinity car at the Auto Club Speedway. Of course, with this win and with the momentum you have, 3 extra bonus points carrying yourself to the round of 7. And for the next 2 races, it's going to be Gateway and Pocono. So 2 very interesting racetracks to set yourself up for the Final Four at Homestead. What are you going to have to do to pull yourself in?
I think those are 2 very interesting tracks. Gateway, kind of a short track. It's a little bit like New Hampshire. It drives a good bit like a short track, but you're still at pretty high speeds. The B car is probably going to be pretty snappy there for off the corner. So it's just going to it's probably going to end up being rear tires more than anything, kind of how Martinsville was last night. And then what's it called, Pocono. I haven't driven that track in so long. I don't know if we have to shift or anything like that, but that track is one of the toughest, but it's super fun to drive. That's going to be another tire saving track, but it's just going to be a lot about where you qualify. So it's going to be difficult tracks, and then of course Homestead. I know people like Chris are really good there, so we're going to have to do some work for Homestead to gain some time. And we can't really move up anywhere, so you got to run that one singular Homestead line, and we'll have to work a little bit on that. But other than that, we'll just have to we'll take it one race at a time. So let's go to Gateway next and take on that track and all the other tracks, because we're still the playoffs for all 7 series. So we're catching fire lately, and it's always a good thing.
Yep, that's right. Cole Williams trying to pull off the Ryan Kendrick and go Final Four all 3 series. Congratulations, bud, on your first Xfinity Series win. But before I let you go, and you just want to thank you for tonight.
I just want to thank Yomita Race and all those guys back there. Shout out to Pellet Gaming's custom diecast. I think I'm gonna have this diecast car made to a diecast. So that'll be awesome. Shout out to him once again for being able to do that for me. And then of course South Energy coming on this beautiful Ford Mustang made by Corey Hartz and Corey Hartz Media. Shout out to him for putting together my car. And thanks to you guys again for broadcasting everything you guys do. And just everyone that was out there today racing clean. I know we didn't have a huge car count, but everyone raced clean. We were able to go green for long periods of time, and it was super fun to go out there and race.
All right, about 10 for Cole Williams, and number 42 rounds himself out up top. Good luck in the round of 7, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Get ourselves back 1 spot to Christopher Wallen and number 41.
Hey, Chris, got a copy?
Yeah, I do.
And you had a great job tonight, end up in 2nd place, and you are on to the round of 7. So, how was your car out there tonight, and how did that fuel strategy end up working out for you?
The car felt okay. It took me a while to really get the feel of it there. I saved the best run for last, able to chase down Nick, Liam, and Hunter Johnson there. But, I kind of wish I'd figured that out for the whole race, because maybe then I could have had something for Cole if we stacked him up again. Fuel strategy overall, I mean, I tried to short pit the first time because I just didn't feel good on those tires. And it worked out. I led a lap, got a bonus point there, and it put me in a good position for the last stop. So, I mean, I think I realistically did the best I could have, and, hats off to Cole for running such a dominant race up there.
Yeah, he definitely got the best of the field tonight, but with your win last week at Watkins Glen, and I believe you got a pole as well in this chase, that'll mean you get bonus points going into the round of 7. So what are you going to have to do between Gateway and Pocono to use those bonus points to your advantage and make sure you can get yourself into the Championship 4?
I just have to kind of keep doing what I'm doing, finish top 5 both races, hopefully. Gateway is going to be a tough one. Last time we were there, I was not good, so I guess I have a little bit of work I need to do this week to get there. But I'm sure I can get there. It's a good feeling to have made it through and into the next round in all 3 playoff series. So I'll keep grinding with my SPM teammates, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, trying to do what Ryan Kendrick did last season and go 3 for 3 in the Final 4, and I think you've definitely got what it takes to do it. But before we let you go tonight, any sponsors or people you want to thank here?
Yeah, I always want to give a shout-out to my Schramm Poindexter Motorsports teammates. Congratulations to Carson for barely squeaking in there. He was driving the wheels off his car the whole race. He knew he was going to be 1 point short, and he got it right there with, I think, 2 laps to go. He got Liam. So it's just a great feeling to know that we all kind of did what we needed to do and made it through.
Yeah, it was a real nail-biter there for Carson, but it all worked out in the end for all of you. Christopher Weil, P2 here tonight at Auto Club. Hope to see you back here for the rest of the season.
Yep, see you then.
Go ahead and drag in one more person into the booth. That'll be the 95 and Nick Miller, who rounds himself out in 3rd place. And he was fighting out with the 41 of Christopher Weil during the closing laps of the race. But Miller, one caution race at the beginning of the race, sort of set the... the 95% of the race just set the tone for on how the race just panned out, and you played the strategy right to round yourself 3rd, and of course you move yourself into the round of 7 as well. Miller, congratulations, bud. Talk to me about your race.
Yeah, I was kind of single file in a power box. It was kind of expected, so not really sure where the strategy went, but overall we gained a spot. I kind of got screwed ever since I got a tight with next to Liam on like lap 5 or whatever, so I had to rebound the entire race and never really had a shot to get Cole. Or luckily I got Hunter, but never got a chance to get Cole. And then once we passed Hunter and Cole was like in another zip code, me and Chris were screwing around. I think I ran the Larson line and slapped the wall, and then Hunter ran the Larson line and slapped the wall, and then Chris just pulled away.
Yep, so you round yourself out 3rd, of course, enough points to move yourself into the round of 7. Round of 7 consists of Gateway and Pocono, so 2 very different racetracks in terms of length and shape. So what are you going to have to do to pull yourself through into Homestead in a few weeks from now?
Pull my inner 2019 self and become a hot lapper Miller, because there's going to be no passing at either of those tracks at all. It's probably going to be single file, just like tonight was. So I just got to qualify good and then survive and hope we're ahead of the other guys.
All right, but 10-4, Nick Miller rounds himself out in 3rd place after starting himself, looks like in 2nd. But before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank you for tonight?
SPM Racing. Thanks to the guys and the calls for making that race not as boring as it felt. And yeah, we're on to the next round.
All right, by 10-4, Nick Miller rounds himself out 3rd. Go ahead and see you coming to next race, bud.
Yep, thank you.
That'll do it here for interviews. I mean, what a race, and as you said, it came down to a nail-biter by the end of it.
Yeah, had the one caution on lap 1 that kind of set William Schmidt behind, but after that it was smooth sailing from there on out. But that'll do it here for the round of 7. We're down to just 3 races left across all 3 series to determine who will come out on top as the respective champions. But for the next week of racing that we've got, and the first week of racing here in March, the Super Late Model Tour will kick off at Langley on Wednesday night, and that'll certainly be an interesting race So be sure to tune in for that one. The trucks will be at Iowa on Friday night. Should be a good one there as well. The Cup Series will make its way down to Kansas, and these Xfinity cars will make their way to Gateway. So a 4-pack of really cool tracks that we'll be going to here to try to figure out who will make it to the Final Four or inch their way closer to the Final Four in those respective series. And of course, Late Model Tour, we'll see who can come out on top in points there as well. Thank you once again for tuning in here for tonight's broadcast. Congrats once again to the 42 of Cole Williams for winning the race and for the 7 drivers that advanced their way into the next round here tonight. For Ezeckiel Reyes, I am Dewey Schramm. Thanks for watching.